fun, entertaining, bizarre Sunday Night Football game. It really was everything. Welcome into Four Verts. I'm Harrison Graham, here to recap a Chargers 34-27 win. We'll also talk a little Bills-Chiefs as the Chiefs lose for the first time this year. We'll also take a look at 49ers Seahawks. NFC West is getting weird, and I'm here for it, so we'll talk about that as well. Hit that subscribe button. We're here late on a Sunday night bringing you all the action from NFL Week 11, including Sunday Night Football. So if you want more videos, NFL, college football, and otherwise, subscribe today. We've got you covered here on 4 Verts. All right, the Chargers win 34-27, and this game was just bonkers. It really was. The Chargers led 24-6 at halftime, 27-6 early in the third quarter, and then Joe Burrow got hot and kind of does what he's done most of this year, which is play phenomenal. He ended up throwing for 356 and 3 touchdowns. They had to throw the ball 50 times, but gets a touchdown. They get a stop, score again. Herbert fumbles, they score again. All of a sudden, boom, 27 all early in the fourth quarter. I think it was like 12 minutes left. And like a quarter, they erased a 3-touchdown deficit. And you're going, man, they've got all the momentum. And they kept that momentum. They kept getting stops. They got 2 more stops in a row. And guess what happened? Evan McPherson misses from 48, hooks it left. Gets another attempt from 51, hooks it left. I get it, 48-51. They're not chip shots. I saw the Bears have a 46-yarder blocked earlier, so I understand. Evan McPherson should make at least one of those 2 kicks. And you just feel like if the Bengals could have just taken a lead from a mental standpoint, the Chargers wouldn't have folded because with Jim Harbaugh, clearly they're not going to be a team that folds, but the pressure really ramps up. Like the comeback's not complete until you take the lead, and they just never took the lead. They just could not take the lead, and that's kind of been the story of this Bengals team, is at times they look like a Super Bowl contender. But throughout the course of a 60-minute game, they just make too many mistakes. The defense struggles, they can't run the ball, they're missing kicks, untimely penalties. And so Justin Herbert gets chance after really struggling for much of the second half. He was 6 for 20 at one stretch in the second half, missed 7 throws in a row. This was after a red-hot first half, but gets the ball back with about 45 seconds left. Throws a couple of beautiful passes to Ladd McConkey. J.K. Dobbins busts a 29-yard touchdown run with about 18 seconds left, and they go on to win the game. And I do just want to point out a good coaching moment. The Bengals get into Hail Mary range, and with 5 seconds left, what does Jim Harbaugh do? He takes a timeout. Make sure Jesse Minter gets everything lined up how he wants to. Do they want to blitz? Do they want to drop 8 in the end zone? How do they want to do it? And what do? They brought pressure, and Burrow had to get rid of it early, and the Hail Mary got knocked away. That's why you take a timeout in that situation. Like, if you have a timeout there's no downside. Because for the Bengals, not much is going to change. It's not like taking a timeout, they're going to reinvent the wheel on how to call a Hail Mary. Like, no. They're going to tell their guys to run to the end zone and try to catch the ball. But defensively, you can defend a Hail Mary a bunch of different ways. You can stack one side of the offensive line a lot with different defensive linemen. You can drop 8 into coverage. You can blitz 5 or 6. You can do all kinds of stuff. And they brought pressure, and Burrow had to get rid of the ball, and they knocked it away. So the Harbaugh effect is real. The Chargers are 7-3. I mean, they're, at this point, a borderline lock to be a playoff team. I know they got some tough games coming up, but Cincinnati was one of those teams lurking. Like, if they get hot here, they can make a push for a playoff spot. But now that they're 4-7, I mean, the Chargers they're the 5 seed right now. They're ahead of the Ravens, who are 7-4, Broncos, who are 6-5. So they've got a little cushion here. 10 wins in the AFC is going to get you into the playoffs because the 8 seed and below right now have at least 6 losses. So unless the Colts or the Dolphins run the table, 10-7 is going to get you in. So the Chargers just got to go 3-4 the rest of the way, and something tells me with Harbaugh, they're going to do better than 3-4. I mean, you just watch this team, and they're just mentally tough. They're well coached. Everybody gave the hire of Greg Roman shit because he's more of a run game design guy. Well, with limited receivers, and I know Herbert, went a little cold in the second half. Their passing game can be pretty potent. Quentin Johnston's catching touchdowns. Ladd McConkey's making plays. Will Dissly, welcome back. I mean, felt like he didn't do anything for 3 or 4 years. He's a playmaker, so I still think they're a year or two away, probably just a year with how good Harbaugh is from being a true Super Bowl contender, but they're absolutely a high-level playoff team. I mean, they're capable of winning a playoff game, so really good win for the Chargers. And for the Bengals, you just wonder where this goes from here because, their offense is not the issue. Their defense just is not good enough. I'll give their defense credit. They got stops in the second half when they needed to get back into it, but they just give up too many points. I mean, you look at their recent games, 34 tonight, 35 last week. Even in a win over the Raiders, they gave up 24, 37 to the Eagles. Couple good weeks, but against the Browns and Giants, 41 to the Ravens, 24 to the Panthers, 38 to Washington. I mean, the defense has just been bad. Does Zach Taylor get fired after this year? I don't know. At 4-7, the Bengals maybe can go 9-8 and make the playoffs, could sneak in maybe, but it's not getting easier. Steelers next week, they're at Dallas and at Tennessee the 2 weeks after that. Browns and Broncos at home after that, those are winnable too. At Steelers again. I mean, you got to split the Steelers and win every other game. I mean, that's the path if you're Cincinnati, but the Chargers are a team you're jockeying with for playoff positioning, so to lose this game tonight really hurts. They've had chances in a lot of these games, and it's kind of been the same story, just not making the play when they need to. And it's unfortunate because Burrow's having an MVP caliber year, but you can't win MVP if your team's 4-7. So that's just where that sits. Okay, that's Sunday Night Football. I do want to talk about a couple of the afternoon games. The Chiefs are unbeaten no longer. Their 15-game winning streak is snapped. Bills win 30-21, and the Brave get rewarded. 4th and 2 late in the game. Bills leave the offense on the field. Josh Allen sees a lane, scrambles, runs it into the end zone for about 20-yard touchdown, and extra point iced it. It was 23-21 at the time. They could have kicked, got up 5, but Sean McDermott knew better. Don't give Mahomes the ball back in a 5-point game with 2 minutes to go. You're asking to get beat. So Bills played to win there, and they did. And they won, and I think they've won 3 in a row against the Chiefs in the regular season now. Obviously, they have not been able to get over the hump in the playoffs. You would think there's a pretty good chance these two are going to play again in a couple of months, and I'd be hard pressed to bet against Kansas City in a playoff spot. But I will say this: watching the Chiefs today, and obviously they've been playing with fire a bit. They've won a bunch of close games, but today, and you've started to notice this a little bit since Jalen Watson, their number 2 corner, has gone down. As good as their defense is with Spags, they do have a weakness at that second outside corner spot. Trent McDuffie is awesome. He's all pro caliber, but they let L'Jarius Sneed go because they really like Jalen Watson, and they didn't want to pay Sneed. Well, with Watson out, they really have issues. They don't have a reliable second outside corner, so Josh Allen exploited that a couple of times today, and the Chiefs shut down the run. I mean, I know Allen had the late scramble, but overall, the Bills rushed for 104 yards on 31 carries. It's 3.4 yards per carry. James Cook, 20 yards on 9 carries. He had 2 touchdowns, but little, short ones on the goal line. It's not like they ran wild. I thought Mahomes, the last pick, it's kind of desperation. I thought he was actually pretty good. 3 touchdowns. Only a $196. They're still not that explosive, but I think I think the Chiefs have 2 weaknesses. One, their offensive tackles are not that good, especially left tackle. And 2, that second corner spot. I think those are 2 areas you can exploit this team when you play them. Sure, they'd like to have another receiver on the outside, but I think they have enough there to get by. Pacheco's coming back next week, it sounds like. Amenahu's going to be back, so that'll give Kansas City a lift. I like Kansas City today, just getting points. Bills had some injuries, but Amari Cooper ended up playing. I did not think that would be the case. He had 55 yards on 2 catches. Shakir had a nice game, so it's a good game. It's classic Bills-Chiefs, 23-21, 2 minutes left, and one team's got to make a play, and the Bills made it to win 30-21. So Kansas City falls to 9-1, Buffalo 9-2, so that number 1 seed very much in play. Pittsburgh at 8-2 as well. Those 3 teams going to be jockeying down the stretch to potentially get that top spot. And then let's go to the NFC West before we call it a night. Kind of another stunning loss for the Niners, who are now 5-5. So is Seattle. Geno Smith drives them down late. Couple big scrambles, including the game-winning, about a 20-yard touchdown run, something like that, maybe 18 yards with 12 seconds left. Geno had been 0-5 or 0-6 against the Niners in his career coming into today with Seattle, and he outplayed Brock Purdy on the road in a big spot, 25 of 32, 221. Had the touchdown run, like I mentioned. Purdy just threw for a $159, touchdown and a pick. Christian McCaffrey's just been okay in the 2 games he's been back. And, it's one of those things where maybe sometimes in sports, sometimes it's life, it's just not your day, it's not your year. It just feels like it's not the 49ers' year. They've had some injuries. Some guys are back, but they don't look quite the same. Kyle Shanahan, I think, has had some untimely coaching errors in big spots this year, which have been reflected in some of these losses. They've blown fourth quarter leads in 3 divisional games. Seattle today, the Rams, and the Cardinals. That's the difference between 8-2 and 5-5. In the other 2 in particular, they led by double digits in the second half. So, today's one of those. It's back and forth. It's not like some catastrophic loss individually, but when you stack it with some of the other losses they've had, it's just like, this is not the Niners team we're used to. They've taken a step back. Now, could they still make the playoffs? Could they still be dangerous in the postseason? Absolutely. I kind of view them as a team as if they're in the dance, they're going to have a chance. But are they going to get there? I don't think they're going to be a wild card team. With the NFC North almost certainly getting 3 teams, with Detroit, who likely wins the division. Same one about the Vikings. They're 8-2. Packers, with the win over the Bears today, are 7-3 now. I mean, those 3 teams, barring something surprising, are going to make the playoffs. That's 2 wild card spots in, let's just say, Minnesota and Green Bay. Unless Washington collapses, they've got a leg up for that other wild card spot. I think the NFC West is a one division lead, and 3 teams are 5-5: the Seahawks, 49ers, and Rams, and the Cardinals are 6-4. Now, the 49ers still play the Cardinals and the Rams once each. They need to win both of those because they lost the first time around. But for Seattle, massive win today. Had to have it to get back into kind of the NFC West picture. And feels like this thing's going to come down to Week 18 for this division, and all 4 teams could be in the mix over the next 2 months. So going to be fun, but I do think it's just going to be one team. And I still think the Niners are the best team in that division, but at some point you are who you are. And for this year, they might just be a mediocre team. They really might. So not looking great for San Francisco. They've been in the Super Bowl window. They've come so close. And did they miss their spot? Did they miss their opportunity last year to seal the deal? Because, could have to pay Brock Purdy soon. Key guys getting older. Guys like Kittle, who was out today, Trent Williams, even Fred Warner. He's still an elite player, but is he going to be this forever? Probably not. Really bad loss. Really bad loss for the Niners. And a great win for Geno. He has just been terrible against the 49ers historically, and he came up big when it mattered most. All right, there you have it. Little Sunday Night Football plus some afternoon game reaction here on 4 Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. A lot of chatter that Doug Peterson could be fired tomorrow, so if that's the case, we'll react to that as well. Until then, enjoy your night.